Good evening, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to your Wednesday evening edition of WRMK News 12 Evening Newscast. We have a lot of news to get to this Wednesday evening, so let's get started right now. First up, we're going to begin with after new data released, the ACL of New Hampshire and New Hampshire officials disagree about the northern border security plans. Let's take a listen to that report right now. For more than a year, Governor Chris Sununu has been calling for more to be done to secure the state's northern border. But the American Civil Liberties Union of New Hampshire says new data shows there is not a significant number of illegal crossings into New Hampshire. This data is coming after Sununu announced plans for a Northern Border Alliance. The governor's proposal dispatched more resources from state, county, and local law enforcement to patrol the northern border. New Hampshire's border with Canada makes up just over 50 miles of the Swanton sector, which stretches all the way to parts of New York State. However, according to the ACLU of New Hampshire, the number of crossings into New Hampshire doesn't support that plan's 1.4 million price tag. The number of encounters and interactions Border Patrol officers had with migrants in New Hampshire over a 15-month time span ending December 31st, 2023 was only 21. In a statement, the governor says that ACLU is cherry-picking the data. The New Hampshire Attorney General's office also released a statement regarding the release of northern border crossing data. The legal director of the ACLU of New Hampshire said the data shows the money set aside for more law enforcement at the border could be better spent elsewhere. And that does it for this news report. Reporting for WRMK News 12, I'm Riley King. Okay, and there you go on that report. Investigators say Want ad helped them capture killer of Dartmouth grad. Let's take a listen to that report from WMUR News 9.
Another reason to make Hannaford to go? Your go-to.
Federal investigators say a local want ad for a yoga instructor in Costa Rica helped them capture the person who killed Dartmouth graduate and pro cyclist Anna Mariah Wilson. Caitlin Armstrong is serving a 90-year sentence for shooting Wilson in Texas in 2022. Investigators had been searching for Armstrong for more than a month and believed that she was moving around Costa Rica looking for work. Deputies with the U.S. Marshals say they placed a yoga instructor ad as a last resort. It took several days for someone to respond, but that person turned out to be Armstrong.
Okay, and there you go on that report.
Well, it is.
Whoops, we don't want the weather right now. Sorry about that. Nottingham man is sentenced to 8 to 20 years in state prison for targeting elderly a victim. Let's take a listen to that report right now.
A Nottingham man will spend at least 8 years in prison for stealing an elderly victim's identity. DJ Richards was sentenced on 12 counts of identity fraud, credit card fraud, and theft by unauthorized taking. Now, as part of his sentence, he will not be allowed to manage money for the elderly or the disabled.
Okay, and there you go on that report. New Hampshire delegates meet with President Biden at the White House after his write-in New Hampshire primary victory.
So Jen, Senator Maggie Hassan says President Biden agreed to prioritize campaign efforts here in New Hampshire for the 2024 presidential general election. Of course, it comes after the Democratic National Committee tried to supplant New Hampshire's primary leadoff role by making South Carolina that party's first primary contest. Biden supporters here in the Granite State were still able to mount a winning write-in campaign last week, fending off challenges from Congressman Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson. But the delegation says today they expressed their frustration directly to the president about his not appearing on the ballot.
And I think really today was to celebrate. He was very impressed with the turnout, with the response, and I hope it bodes well for us with the presidential primary going forward.
Congresswoman Custer also says she expects to see President Biden here in New Hampshire campaigning sometime soon, she says, following the State of the Union address.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Biden says he's decided how to respond to the Jordan drone air attack. Let's take a listen to that report from ABC News.
President Biden under intense pressure this morning after confirming he has decided how to respond to the weekend's deadly drone strike on a U.S. base.
Yes.
The 3 American service members were killed by the explosives-laden drone that evaded defenses at their base in Jordan. The leader of one group, strongly suspected of the attack, saying it's suspending military operations in the region, likely a reaction to expected U.S. strikes. The U.S. skeptical the attacks will stop.
Actions speak louder than words.
While the president is still wary of a growing conflict.
I don't think we need a wider war in the Middle East.
He was pressed by NBC's Gabe Gutierrez whether he blames Iran for the attacks.
I do hold them responsible in the sense of supplying the weapons to the people who did it.
But a different group, supported by Iran, striking the U.S. again overnight. The Houthis firing an anti-ship cruise missile towards the Red Sea, shot down by a U.S. destroyer, the USS Gravely, the Pentagon says. Tensions and the fallout from the war in Gaza growing on multiple fronts, while the families of the service members killed in the strikes in Jordan are still reeling. The army announcing 2 of those killed, Kennedy Sanders and Breonna Moffett, have been posthumously promoted to the rank of sergeant, recognizing their exceptional courage.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that sent us prayer requests. So we just want to say thank you.
So heartbreaking for those families. And in the meantime, Kier, word that Iran has released a new warning this morning about any potential retaliatory attack from the U.S. What have you heard?
That's right, Savannah. The commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard saying, quote, "We hear threats coming from American officials. We tell them that they've already tested us, and we now know one another. No threat will be left unanswered." U.S. officials telling NBC News that the targets have not yet been finalized. But Savannah, underscoring the multi-dimensional nature of the challenge here for President Biden, the director of the CIA saying this week that the crisis in Gaza, he believes, has emboldened Iran. Savannah?
Keir Simmons in the Middle East for us. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching.
Okay, and there you go on that report. And we are going to switch gears now, and let's go into your sports right now. And in sports, the Boston Celtics, they had a game last night, and the final score of the Boston Celtics game, Boston Celtics 129 and Indiana Pacers 124. Celtics won the game last night. Congratulations, Celtics. Next game for Celtics will be tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. against Lakers. Let's go, Celtics. Hopefully they can win tomorrow night's game. And that does it for this evening edition of WRMK News 12 right here. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening and good night.